Chewy loves good coffee. And one way to get good coffee is by having a good grinder, freshly roasted beans, not too fresh, typically 5 to 7 days after roast, because beans have to degas the carbon dioxide out. Now, unless you want blooming to occur, then use it sooner. But if you get too much blooming, sometimes it'll overflow in your coffee brewer, or if you're making espresso, you get big bubbles. Today we have the fellow Ode grinder, which we see right here. This is a brew grinder for basically regular coffee, or in industry known as brown coffee, but it is not for espresso machines. And this is an impressive grinder right here, 64 millimeter flat burrs, okay? And this thing is heavy. A lot of grinders for regular coffee are typically lightweight. If they have conical burrs, they're usually smaller motors to compensate for the conical burrs. A lot of people don't know that, but that's what's true. The flat burrs typically have the heavier motors. This we've been using for several days here, this grinder, and we just loved it right out of the box. Okay, make sure you read the instruction manual before you start. There's a lot of information there, even including how to replace the burrs, which I don't foresee for a long time. Underneath the cover here, it basically tells you the settings from cold brew, French press, electric coffee maker, pour over, AeroPress, cupping, and Prismo. Prismo? If you know what that means, please comment below, because that's something now I just learned a few days ago. So if you know about it, comment below. Even if the person in front of you answered, comment below about that. So it's a nice place to remember, but every coffee bean blend is different. So you may go outside a little bit of these parameters. That's why they kind of give you a range. And you're saying, what do you mean, Java Jim? What I mean is, different blends of coffee have different beans from different countries. There could be different amounts of hardness on those beans. It could be different levels of moisture, water content in those beans. And that can impact where you are on the grind settings. That's why we never ever say here at First Line, and the staff shouldn't say what grind setting you should be at, because it's something that you need to figure out with the beans that you're using. So this is a good guideline right here, which I kind of like. Getting deeper into this grinder, the features, there is a small bean hopper. So you're not going to have a large bean hopper full of beans. You're pretty much going to need to load it every time, because the grinder will shut itself off. There's actually an automatic stop. So you have the cover with the amount there. We have our settings here. Always remember, smaller number, smaller particles. Bigger number, bigger particles. So just keep that in mind. And let's say, now I can't even remember, but let's say electric coffee maker 5 and 6. Oh, we'll go a little bit between 5 and 6 there. And actually, we have the beans here. There's a canister, which has basically a little bit of a mid-size rubber cover. I have my beans loaded here. And inside here, there's markings in here. And I'm assuming those markings are for how much beans you're putting in. You can load the beans in. I will keep the cover off. Hopefully you can hear a little more sound. The cover will let the sound go down a little bit. You have some ridges in here. Again, we've used this grinder for last few days. And there's basically a piece here on the bottom, and there's a magnet underneath. So we'll put this cover back on which is real simple. Touches the magnet. Press the grinder button in the front. And there is no power switch on this. It's just plug and play. Oh, you could smell the beans being freshly ground. The grinder finally stopped. Now it is probably timed. It went over a little extra. It's probably because the settings it was on. So there is an automatic stop. Here, there's a little knocker in case there's anything left over up here. We take, oh, just love the smell of freshly ground coffee. Freshly roasted is great. And then when it's freshly ground, it's even better. And nice particle size, something I would definitely use for an electric coffee maker like this. We use this back here every day. The Chemex Mocha Master coffee brewer. It's one of my favorite brewers that I like to make our regular coffee in. And then basically we would just take this and put it into the funnel and we're ready to go. That's how easy this grinder is. And actually this grinder is coming home with me. So that's how much I like this grinder. This particular unit is coming to my house because it does a very, very good job. Cleaning. We sell products like Ernix grinds. We sell pulley grinds. You don't really need to use that unless you're using very oily beans. So to clean the oils. We sell another product by Pulley, which is to clean the bean hopper. There are 4 torque screws on top here. I normally don't recommend taking them off. The reason is for grinders, if it's good, leave well enough alone. Don't fuss with it. There are instructions to remove the front. I think this comes off right there. To access the front where the burrs are. I don't recommend that either. You're just opening up a can of worms. Unless you're having major issues like there's a stone caught inside, then yes. And there have been stones in coffee beans, there have been metal objects, wooden objects. A lot of people don't know this until it happens to them. And it's happened to me on another grinder. So this is why I say, don't necessarily fuss with it, leave good and well enough alone. The pulley stuff that we sell, just basically put on a cloth and wipe up here if you're using oily beans. If not, just leave it alone. Okay, if you're changing different beans, then maybe use the pulley grinds, the Ernix grinds to clean the burr set. But typically the coffee itself will clean it. So just remember that. And if you want to look at the back side here, you have the plug. Okay, there's not much. It's a simple grinder, but it is a heavy grinder for regular coffee. And this is one grinder that I am certain you will enjoy at home because it's coming to my house. Once again, this is Java Jim. Join Chewy in some great coffee at home, freshly ground. If you can, please give us a thumbs up, like below, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and have a wonderful Ode day.